A rotary tiller costs you twice, and that's number 5 on this list. Once at the register, and once in the ground it's supposed to be saving. The guy who sold it to you only mentions the first one. And it isn't one bad attachment, it's a pattern. The dealer's real margin is the implements, not the tractor, so the lot fills with steel that looks essential and turns into a barn ornament by year 2. I went through the owner forums where these guys argue specs for 100 pages, and the same 5 wastes kept surfacing. 5 that gather dust, 4 that earn their keep, and the one nearly every experienced owner says to buy before anything else. So, the tiller. For breaking new ground once, it works, but that's the trap. Tilling is a one-time job. You rip up the sod once, but running steel through your soil every spring after that is what agronomists at Oregon State and the USTA now warn against. It degrades the soil structure worms and roots depend on, so the garden gets harder to grow in, not easier, while the tool sits idle most of the year. Borrow one for the first pass, go no dig, and keep your $1,500, because it's the most oversold implement on the lot if you ask me. And yeah, I know half of you own one. Your call. Number 4. The post-hole auger. You buy it picturing all the fence you'll finally run, then use it one weekend and it hangs on the wall for years. One owner on Tractor by Net put it flat out. It's the least used attachment he owns. And a 3-point auger has no down pressure, so in clay it just spins on top while the tip barely bites. But the skid steer versions with hydraulic downforce bore straight through. Worse, a spinning pitot shaft is one of the deadliest things on a farm. A loose sleeve catches and wraps you before you react. And people die this way every year. So unless you're setting 300 posts or more, rent the digger for $70 a day. Number 3. The 3-point snowblower. And this one's all about where you live. A fella up in northern Illinois bought a rear blower, tried it once on 1 inch of snow, then let it collect dust for 4 years before selling it for a blade. If you get 2 or 3 snows a winter, a rear blade or the loader bucket clears your driveway for a fraction of the cost. A snowblower earns its keep in real snow country, but even there you're driving in reverse the whole time. And a front mount that fixes, that runs about double. And impeller size matters more than any spec sheet. Go under about 24 inches across, and the thing bogs and vibrates in deep snow instead of throwing it. So match it to your snowfall, not your fantasy of it. And look at what those 3 share. A tiller, an auger, a snowblower in the wrong zip code. Every one is a job you do a handful of times a year, or ever. You're buying a permanent tool for an occasional job. Drop the one gathering dust in your barn in the comments. I'll be in there. Number 2. The disc harrow and the bottom plow, at least for a small garden. They look like real farming. But a disc harrow is a secondary tool. It can't break new ground on its own. It only chops what's already loose, so on hard dirt it rides along doing almost nothing. And for a half-acre plot, no-till has quietly made both obsolete. If you truly need one, buy it used, because a box blade and a disc are the safest implements to buy second-hand. Any damage is right there in the open. And number 1, the priciest mistake on the whole lot, the backhoe attachment. This is the one your own dealer will try to talk you out of, and think how strange that is, a salesman waving off $5,000. One owner called it the most worthless, most expensive thing he ever bought, used it twice, and let it rust. On a compact tractor it digs shallow and slow, but the real killer is the subframe blocking your other implements. Meanwhile, a rented mini excavator runs around $250 a day and digs circles around any attachment ever made. So buy it only if you've got years of trenching ahead, otherwise it's a $5,000 lawn ornament with a seat. But the point was never to scare you off attachments. The right ones turn a tractor from an expensive toy into the most useful machine you own. So here are the 4 nobody regrets, and I'm saving the one they all say to get first for the end. First up, pallet forks. Cheapest serious upgrade you can bolt on, $600 or $700. But ask around and you'll hear the same line. The forks live on the loader more than the bucket does. Hay, lumber, feed, an engine hoist, materials onto a roof, they move all of it. The honest caveat, get dedicated quick attach forks, not the clamp-on kind that ride in your bucket. because those block your view and bend the lip over time. Next, the rotary cutter, the brush hog. If you've got pasture, trails, or a backfield, nothing else keeps it down. And here's the spec that separates the guys who know from the guys who don't. The rule of thumb is 5 pitot horsepower per foot, so a 5-foot cutter wants about 25 at the shaft, but the gearbox is deliberately rated 40 or higher as a shock buffer. Those blades spin fast enough that the Elsu Ag Center clocks the tips over 150 miles an hour, throwing a rock 300 feet. The caveat: pay up for a slip clutch over a shear bolt if your ground has rock or stumps, and never swap a sheared bolt for a hard grade 8, or the next hit destroys the gearbox instead of the bolt. And check the tailwheel. A cheap cutter rides on bushings that wear out fast, but a good one turns on a sealed roller bearing that outlasts the machine. One more trap: Titan Attachments and Titan Implement are two different companies. One's an import and one's built in Tennessee, so know which one you're actually buying. Third, the box blade. If you've got a gravel driveway or any dirt to move, this one earns its keep every month. It grades, fills, spreads gravel, and doubles as rear ballast for loader work. One honest tip that might save you a purchase: if your driveway's already built and you only want to maintain it, a land plane does that better with almost no learning curve. The box blade is for building and moving, the land plane is for keeping smooth what you've already got. And a light box blade won't cut. You want roughly 100 pounds per foot of width. And the one they all say to buy first: the Grapple. Ask 100 owners what lives on their loader, and you'll hear the same figure, 90 to 95% of the time. One guy said the Grapple was the whole reason he bought a tractor at all. Brush, roots, storm debris, logs, it grabs what a bucket just shoves around. And pick the right jaw. A root grapple with spread tines is for brush and debris, but a rock grapple with a solid floor holds loose material, and they aren't the same tool. Now the honest caveat: a grapple needs hydraulics your loader probably doesn't have from the factory, and adding that third function runs about $800 if you're handy. But north of $2,000 if the dealer does it. Build that in before you fall in love, and keep it light with rear ballast, because a heavy grapple eats the lift you need to pick anything up. Get that right, and it's the attachment you'll wonder how you ever worked without. So the whole thing comes down to one question: how often will you actually do this job? Do it constantly. Buy the tool and buy it good. Do it twice a year, rent it, and keep the cash. The dealer's entire margin is betting you won't ask that at the counter, but now you will. That's the line between a man who owns his tractor and a lot that owns him. Next, I'm after the tractors themselves, the emission systems that can turn a $20,000 machine into a 4-figure repair bill, and the pre-computer diesels worth more used than they sold for new. The video on your screen right now is there because YouTube thinks you'll like it, so click it. And if you made it all the way here, subscribe.